Hey guys, welcome back to the BJJ history. And today we're going to episode number 5. And before that, I want to say thank you very much to my sponsor, Spider Korea. And a very special thank you to a guy who is now helping me to review my text. He's a great researcher in the world of Brazilian martial arts. His name is Elton Silva, and he wrote with Eduardo Correia those books here. Oh, they are great books about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and other martial arts in Brazil and even outside Brazil, in US, in Europe, and how Jiu-Jitsu came here. And I hope soon they will have this translated to English because it's a great book with full of newspapers from the time and many things that is very interesting, pictures from that time and from books from newspapers. It's a great research. So but today we're gonna talk about Mitsuyo Maeda. So the last episode, episode number 5, we finished talking about Maeda, and right now I wanna start to say about this character that is so important to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So Mitsuyo Maeda was born in 1878 in the Funazawa village, the city of Hirosaki in Japan. He started training sumo when he was a teenager, and he also trained some traditional Ju-Jutsu style. The name was Hongaku Kokki Ryu, but not too much we know about that. And Maeda began training at Kodokan in 1895, and he was part of the second generation of black belts of the Kano school, Jigoro Kano school. He was trained directly by Tomita and Yokayama, both direct students of Jigoro Kano. And even though he was new as a small person, Maeda had a great strength and a very sharp technique, very good technique that soon start to give him, people start to pay attention on him, and he was very good not just in stand-up throws but also in the ground game. In 1904, he was sent by Jigoro Kano to US with a mission of spread the Kodokan method. He travels with Tomita, his master, and later with other Kodokan representatives like Satake, Ono, Ito, and others. Between 1907 and 1914, he travels to several countries in Central America, South America, Europe, and Mexico. In these places, he participated in fights against local fighters, challenging and being challenged to fight in the rules of Ju-Jutsu, the judo, because it was a Kodokan Ju-Jutsu, wrestling, catch as catch can, and Vale Tudo, which is a kind of mixed martial arts. He also ends up training other modalities such as wrestling, boxing, savate, the French boxing, and even capoeira in Brazil, becoming more and more a complete fighter. And there is a saying that Elton sent to me from a interview or a book that Maeda did, that he said, "I'm now proposing to use the fingerless rubber boxing gloves. I really believe that judo practitioners need to practice traumatic striking techniques and submissions in these special conditions. I would also like to think of another form of judo, adding boxing and French boxing to Japanese judo. I wanted to place ads for a Count Koma style of judo in Ibiya neighborhood, Tokyo, Mitsuyo Maeda." So you see that he was ahead of his time. He was already thinking about using, like we use MMA gloves today, with the fingers free to grapple and to develop a more efficient style to real situation. It's very interesting that Elton sent me this quote from Maeda. But come back, for the trips, Maeda was traveling around the world, doing public presentations and challenges, offering money to anyone who could defeat him. In Spain, he gets his nickname Count Koma. The word Komas comes from Japanese komaru, which in Japanese means something like confusion. And Maeda started to use this nickname when he's giving his presentation and going to the fights. In 1914, he arrives in Santos, in Brazil. And from Santos, he goes to Porto Alegre, in the south of Brazil, with a troupe of Japanese fighters that start touring around the country, demonstrating jiu-jitsu and participating in challenges. Between 14 and 17, they pass the states of Rio Grande do Sul, São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Minas Gerais, Bahia, Pernambuco, Maranhão, Amazonas, and Pará. So if you don't, use it with the Brazilian map, so they start on the south, they go up the coast to the northeast, and then they cut to the center of the country, in the north of the country, and they establish themselves. And Maeda was not traveling alone. He was in a troupe with other famous fighters like Satake, Okura, Shimizu, and Sadakazu Haku Uenishi that we talked before. And some were from Kodokan and some were not from Kodokan. They are Japanese fighters, jiu-jitsu fighters, but not all from Kodokan. And around 1915, Maeda and another Japanese fighters go to the north of the country, like I said before, passing through Manaus and Belém, and continue to present demonstration and accept challenge from boxers, wrestlers, and capoeira guys, which we call in Brazil capoeiristas. In that time, Koma meets Gastão Gracie, who was the member and one of the partners of American Circus. He was an entrepreneur, and he was partnered with the other people of the American Circus, a famous circus in Brazil at that time. The circus promoted, among other things, challenge between fighters of different styles. In these events promoted by Gastão Gracie, Maeda and Satake participate, facing boxing, wrestlers, and capoeira fighters. Around 1917, doing his friendship with his manager Gastão Gracie, Maeda started to teaching Carlos Gracie, Osvaldo Gracie, and Gastão Gracie Jr. And at this point, two theories arise. The first say that Maeda taught only the ancient Kodokan Judo to the Gracie brothers. And the second theory is that the Japanese would have taught a more heterogeneous style, based on what he had learned traveling around the world through his experience with wrestling, catch as catch can, boxing, savate, and even capoeira here in Brazil. Later, Carlos passed on his teachings and methods developed by himself, and that he learned from Koma, of course, to his other brothers, George Gracie and Hélio Gracie. Carlos, George, Hélio, Osvaldo, and Gastão would take jiu-jitsu to another level, adapting, perfecting, and writing their names in the history as the founder of a new martial art calling Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So that's it for today, guys. And in the next episode, I'm gonna talk to Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil. Even before Maeda arrived here, there was some Jiu-Jitsu already, and it's interesting to talk about. And then we go through the Gracie family and the other people who helped build Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I hope you guys like it, and I see you next time. Bye.